And I think we have, come back to, we have all this guidance, and you've done a lot of good work, and we've got the finance manual, and it does tell people how to do things, but we haven't stepped back and said, this is the risk impact of not following this.
Yes, good.
Yeah.
This is like, and if you, Mr. CR, are listening to your sales manager, the impact of you not following this procedure is this. Do you want to take that risk?
Right. And that's why we have to get the warehouse Bible. I mean, to get that warehouse Bible that Carl's read, that Kim's read, that, you know, that beefs up the inventory part of the OFOG manual, that not only gives, like, this is what you should do, but why, as you know, Chris says, but why and how. That will help us to then start being able to say, if your sales manager is telling you this, this is why we don't agree with it.
And just to link into that, one of the things I've changed on the OFOG report is that we now say this is what the risk associated
Yeah, I like
is.
that part.
Yeah. The reason I've done that is so that if a CR says we're not going to, or management says we're not going to implement that, I want to be able to say, you do realize this is the risk that's associated. Right. So I think when we talk about this warehouse Bible, we need to make sure that we're saying, here's our policy, and this is the risks that are being addressed by these policies and these procedures.
Yeah. And I think the warehouse is a great control for the warehouse, but with supply chain, we start at programs, you know, the need, and I think that's where the policies and procedures, and as system support, we struggle with that a lot, because even in DC, we don't know who can help us identify that risk, who can make that call, and I think that's one of the reasons we wanted to have this meeting, is to say, okay, how do we come together, who do we need to go, what's the structure, so that we can kind of start putting something in place.
I guess I don't mean to, I'm just calling it a warehouse manual, because that's the easiest thing for me to say. But I guess it is bigger than that. I mean, Chris, you just finished reading our manual. It talks a lot about communications between different departments and who needs to be involved in the conversation. And we can certainly expand on that, because in my experience, the biggest problem we have in warehousing is actually not necessarily the warehouse, it's the communications. You know, sales doesn't ever tell the production manager what their sales goals are for the month or the quarter, so the production manager is always scrambling, and therefore they stop following the lot policy, they stop following FIFO, they stop following quality assurance just to get the job done, and you know, it has such a domino effect. So I definitely agree that the scope is not just you receive, you store, there is a communications element.
I understand and agree with what you're saying. I just wonder how much, to what extent people in this room need to get involved now. You know, we can write the guidance, have policies and procedures, and support the field in that way, but ultimately it's the middle management in the field that needs to take ownership of it to balance their workload and not cause production to rush so that they're forced to violate lot tracking procedures.
That's an element. My team has a responsibility through the reports and the assessments that we do to say this is what you're not doing. Right? So if this group can come together, and I think I said this to you, Sarah, like this group here needs to come up with, this is what the guidance is, all right? My group comes along and says, I'm going to assess you on this.
Right.
It comes back to the kind of the empowerment bit, where then I have another challenge, which is to say, how do I make sure that people are taking these recommendations seriously and getting things done, which is a very important critical bit, but we have a responsibility to say this is what it is. Mm-hmm. And I have a responsibility, like I said to you, the Overseas Finance Manual is like this Bible that people follow at the moment, because there's nothing else. I'm happy to say every section in the Overseas Finance Manual that refers to inventory has now been discarded and is replaced by whatever this group comes up with.
Well, I think the manual is a big topic, and I think, is that something we could go into more detail in the afternoon maybe? I mean, I'm thinking that'll be one of the big outputs of today.
Yeah.
That's an action plan, some specifics about who's going to do what. And I had conversations with you and you separately yesterday, and I think we have some good ideas about how to proceed on that. So it would be good to discuss it.
So,
But I think we all agree that that's kind of that's one of the kind of main top funnel, the guidance and then the policy and
Is it?
procedure.
Is that a why or is that a how?
It's a how, so it's in the middle for me, where Steph put it.
It's a why,
That transitions, it's what allows you to get to the how.
you're talking about this
Yeah,
Yeah.
and this
yeah.
in relationship to sort of these sort of things.
We have to give guidance, so we have to create an inventory manual, which then which helps the platforms to do things how they should be done.
the why is we have no idea what our accurate number